Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your very busy days. As I noted publicly yesterday, the pain and fatigue felt by many in our black and brown communities is real and it is palpable. It is an experience further that some people, many, myself included, will never know firsthand. To their tremendous credit, Attorney General Gurbir Grewal and Superintendent Colonel Pat Callahan have undertaken initiatives to heal these breaches of trust in our communities. While the heart of the issue is certainly not limited to problems in policing, the Attorney General will outline today expanded efforts the state is taking to build upon our existing work to promote trust and to strengthen the bonds. The efforts to deepen the well of trust in our communities will include, among other things, the first update of our use of force policies in 2 decades. Increased accountability, transparency, and professionalism all will bring us closer to a reimagined police culture. What we've seen across our state these past few days was the natural outgrowth of these efforts. Law enforcement marching side by side with their communities. New Jersey has emerged as a national leader in true community policing. These haven't been words, but actions that have brought about a sea change in law enforcement. And as I further mentioned yesterday, words matter, but actions matter even more, and we are committed, all of us, to taking the necessary actions to get us as a state and as a society to a better place. With that, I have the tremendous honor to introduce a leader in all of the above, our Attorney General, Gurbir Grewal.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you to all the elected officials and community leaders who are joining our call this morning. As the Governor said, under the Governor's leadership, New Jersey has truly become a national leader when it comes to community policing and policing reform. In recent years at the Attorney General's office, we've worked to strengthen trust between police officers and the communities they serve through initiatives like Excellence in Policing, which we announced last December. This is a set of reforms that focus on professionalism, on accountability, and on transparency. Over the last several years, we've also instituted statewide implicit bias training for the New Jersey State Police and for all prosecutors, and for all prosecutors' detectives. We've implemented de-escalation training. And we've implemented all of these policy reforms in a way where we've brought all stakeholders to the table because we believe that systemic change requires systemic buy-in. And that's what's encouraging to see in this state, that law enforcement officers, police union leaders, civil rights advocates, all have been at the table as we've formulated these policies. But the tragic murder of George Floyd reminds us that America has a long way to go in building community trust, and that we too in New Jersey have a long way to go in building that trust and maintaining it. So today we are announcing 5 policies that would demonstrate New Jersey's commitment to meaningful reform. These are not policies that we came up with this week. These are policies that we have been working on over the last several years. And some are extensions of policies that we've already announced. But there are 5 announcements that we will make today. First and foremost, we will be expanding the use of crisis intervention team training across our state. Criminal justice policymakers agree that one of the most effective ways to reduce the number of law enforcement use of force in death in custody incidents is by expanding the use of crisis intervention teams, which help law enforcement officers respond to situations involving individuals with mental health issues. But CIT training is expensive and typically available only from a handful of outside vendors. To reduce these barriers to entry, we intend to build our own in-house program so we can provide statewide CIT training. As a first step, we're launching pilot programs in Paterson, Trenton, Millville, Atlantic City, as well as with the state police at the State House complex. We think by setting forward these 5 pilots, we will be able to gather data and information to inform a statewide rollout in the near future. Number two, we're endorsing a statewide licensing program for police officers. During the December 2019 rollout of the Excellence in Policing Initiative, I tasked the Police Training Commission, with looking into the issue of police licensing. We're one of a handful of states that don't presently license law enforcement officers. A PTC committee has been looking at this issue and will recommend at its next meeting in mid-June that New Jersey implement a statewide certification program for police officers. As the chair of the PTC, I intend to vote in favor of this recommendation. This licensing program will help us ensure that officers who are terminated from one agency are not able to be hired by a subsequent agency, that they're not able to leave their baggage behind, that we can hold them accountable if they violate the requirements of their licensing. This brings in line law enforcement with nearly 200 other licensed professions, doctors, nurses, lawyers, so many others. And we think this is a long overdue step towards accountability and professionalism when it comes to law enforcement. Number three, we'll be announcing the expansion of our statewide use of force portal. Last year, I announced that we would be piloting an online portal for law enforcement agencies to report their use of force. In prior years, we would collect paper files, and there was no meaningful review done of those paper files. The Star Ledger's reporting in 2018 highlighted the need for us to monitor in real time the use of force by law enforcement. Our pilots have been successful, and now we are in a position to begin roll out this online database statewide beginning in July. This will allow us to monitor, again, in near real time, the use of force in departments across our state to identify outliers and problem actors and to intervene early when necessary. The fourth announcement we'll be making, as the governor alluded to, is a revision of the state's use of force policy. Our use of force policy in this state was last revised in June of 2000, nearly 20 years ago. It's long overdue, and it doesn't reflect the realities of policing today. And so by using the information we gather from the statewide use of force portal, we intend to engage with stakeholders, once again in a process where we can have systemic buy-in from civil rights advocates, from religious leaders, from community leaders, from police union leaders, from victims advocates, from law enforcement professionals, to come up with the best-in-class use of force policy. And we intend to do that by the end of this year. Again, informed by the data we collect using the use of force portal, which will go live in July. And the final announcement we'll be making today will be about incident response teams. Since we began our term at the Attorney General's office, we wanted to reinvigorate our Division on Civil Rights to make it a proactive organization, not just a reactive one that responded to complaints. In that spirit, we are creating an incident response team, much like the Community Relations Service that existed in the Department of Justice under the Obama administration. This team would respond to civil rights incidents and incidents of unrest in municipalities across the state and to try to facilitate solutions and bring communities together at difficult times. We think this type of outreach is important, particularly in this moment, but also in other contexts as well. And this would make New Jersey a leader when it comes to civil rights enforcement and engagement. I want to thank the governor for his support of these efforts, and I want to thank each of you. In some cases, I know your departments are participating in some of these programs or have participated. But again, this will help maintain New Jersey's status as a leader when it comes to policing reform. And this is not the end. This is a continuing process for us, and we intend to pursue every policy option that we have to ensure that our officers are acting professionally and that they're held accountable when they don't.